Hey guys, my name's Woody and welcome to the Traction booth here at NAMM 2017. Day one of the show, still surviving. Here we're going to run through some of our new products we have this year. This is our latest generation of our workstation. One of the first things to note is that this year we're changing the name of the workstation to Waveform. The reason that it's getting the name change is, of course, the company is called Traction now, and we have multiple products, and so rather than calling our workstation T6, T7, T8, which we had been doing, we wanted a more inspirational name for the app. So Waveform is the new name for the workstation moving forward. Bunch of new features in the app this year. Essentially we have a full modular mixer built into the app, which was a big request from some of our users. You of course have the traditional sort of mixing method that if you're used to Traction you'll be familiar with, the modular mixer on the right hand side here, which you can of course show and hide in the normal way like you always have. You also notice this new button here, the mixer button, which pops open, dedicated modular mixer. You can customize the view, so you can show hide different elements of the mixer, of course, so you can show exactly what you want. Let me play some audio through this so we can see it functioning. You can resize the channels, so everything you would expect from a modern modular mixer. We can also launch into a dedicated mixer environment, so if you're running multiple screens and you wanted to always have a mixer in view as well as all of the editing space, you can close that and open the same edit in a dedicated mixer view, which then takes up the entire screen real estate for the mixer. And again, you have all the options to resize the mixer, different scales, and then show hide different elements. So you can fully customize each of these panels. You can resize. So again, it's a fully modular mixer. New features in the app. One of the big goals for this year is musicality tools. So features that help people that aren't classically musically trained to actually write complex music. So we have a new tool in our MIDI. So we click on a MIDI clip, you'll see this new tab on our MIDI controls, which is our pattern generator, which allows you to choose to create arpeggios, chords, bass lines, melodies, and you can generate that by choosing chords, or you can generate it from presets and then manipulate it. So you can quickly choose chord presets and it'll then generate the chord progression for you, and then if you add a bass line it remembers the structure of those chords, so you can very quickly start to build complex music structures. There's quite a bit of science going on behind the scenes with this feature, in that they've actually we took some online data from people who have studied chord progressions of popular music over the last 20 years, and so we can actually offer suggestions and give sort of tips to the user about which chord should naturally follow the previous progression. So there's quite a bit of science going on behind the scenes. There's a lot more to come in this throughout the year. The other thing we've added in MIDI is now a detail editor for the MIDI, which again has been a heavily requested feature from the user base. So now you can launch into a dedicated piano roll detail editor. You can still edit the clip level like you've always been able to, so it's not changing the old Traction way of doing it. We're just adding these real flexible new workflows. So super quick, as you see. If I for example choose a different pattern here, it updates for you. So you can very quickly generate MIDI patterns, chord progressions, bass lines to go with it, everything. So we have a new sampler that comes with Waveform. It's called Collective. I've got it somewhere in here. Let me close my editor. We're still working on final UI, but essentially the goal of the sampler is to provide our users with a very wide palette of instrument choices straight out the box. So all of your strings, keyboards, everything into Tibetan bowls. We want to have it's about 5 gigs worth of sample library that come with it, but essentially the goal is through the sampler to provide a huge array of different instruments for our users. So with the combination of our musicality tools and the sampler, straight out of the box people can very quickly start making complex, rich music. We're showing at the show Waverazor, which is a new synthesizer. Taiho here is the guy who will be able to tell you a lot more than I can. But essentially, Waverazor utilizes a brand new type of oscillator, patent pending type of oscillator. And essentially, in a nutshell, it slices the waveform, and you can manipulate slices of the waveform individually and then modulate all of those. So the actual oscillator itself is modulatable. So again, Taiho can explain it a lot better than I can, but it's a very sort of edgy, sharp sounding synthesizer. You know, very great for electronic music. Biotech just has 40 new patches that we just added in the last month, which is a free update to everyone running Biotech. We launched our DAW Essentials collection of premium plugins, which includes 16 different plugins, all of your essential sort of collections, so reverbs, EQs, dynamics, but all of those plugins will work in any host. So essentially, rather than our sort of premium plugins only working in our host, you can use them in all the hosts, including Pro Tools and Logic, everything. Here we have our main workstation running on a Raspberry Pi, and we also have a little custom version of Biotech, our synth, also running on a Raspberry Pi. So essentially here we have a $30 computer running a full-blown audio workstation. This one's currently running about 30 tracks of audio, quite capably, and then obviously we have Biotech running on this one. We're working on a custom version of the graphics. This is all touchscreen, so you can just grab and touch and manipulate. But by supporting the Raspberry Pi, it opens up a whole new world of devices that people can build. You know, whether it be digital mixers, whether it be hardware synthesizers, you know, control surfaces. There's a lot of stuff. We have a version of our workstation, we call it the DAW engine, where we have actually removed all of the front end, all of the user interface, and that's available to license for companies who want to build products that need a audio routing, mixing, and I/O capable. You know, for example, Roly just launched their Blocks product. The noise app that ships with Blocks is running our engine code in that, for example. So the code can be used to generate lots of different products. So if you start thinking about something like a Raspberry Pi, which costs, you know, $35, and an engine that can be quickly and easily manipulated to be whatever, then literally you could be building a whole array of cool hardware very affordably. So we're really looking forward to seeing what people start building. Yeah, should be fun. And then our copper reference, the main I/O, we had hoped to ship it last year, but ESS, who does the D2A chip in the box, just launched a brand new flagship D2A chip middle of last year. So we of course had to integrate that into the product. So this is now running the ESS Sabre Pro chip, which is 140 dB dynamic range, and you know, significantly higher above the next best D2A chip out in the market. I mean, it's really raised the bar again to a super high level. So, but these units are going out for review in the next month, and will be available for sale, you know, by middle of the year sort of time frame. So that's the quick tour around. You should definitely get some time with Taiho to run you through Waverazor and tell you about that, if I can grab him. Taiho! Do you have a sec? Can you come chat about Waverazor for a second? Guys, this is Taiho Yamada. He's our main sound design and synth product manager, and this is his baby. He developed and designed Waverazor with a team from scratch. Traction, the company, is bringing it to market, but Mock, his company, is a separate company, Media Overkill, but we're collaborating and bringing it to market, and it's just a badass synth.
All right, thanks,
Tell
Woody.
them about it, mate.
So Waverazor is a futuristic virtual synthesizer that allows you to slice up waves and recombine them in different combinations to make aggressive new sounds. We have a patent-pending oscillator technology that's brand new. You have 3 oscillators per voice, 3 filters per voice, and a central oscilloscope to show you precisely what's going on with the waveform. The technology itself, the Waverazor oscillator, by its nature, slicing up the waveform, allows you to do interesting new synthesis techniques. Like one thing that it does is each slice allows you to set a hard sync point. So with normal hard sync, you have an oscillator that resets itself according to a master oscillator with every cycle. But for Waverazor, it can happen in the middle of a cycle at different fractions of the waveform, or even beyond a single cycle waveform. And that creates a particular sound. The other thing that we can do is what we're calling mutant AM, or amplitude modulation. It's like ring mod, but with ring mod you have one oscillator modulating the amplitude of another oscillator, so bringing it in and out. In Waverazor, each step can have different harmonic content. So the harmonics in one step can be modulated off in the next step, or only certain harmonics are modulated off and on, or they can be on for 3 steps and off for 1 step. It's all the combinations are dependent on which waveform you choose per step. And so that gives you a very sort of thick ring mod FM kind of sound, lots of bell-like harmonics. Every parameter in Waverazor is modulatable, so I've hooked up some controllers to even modulate the waveforms themselves. It's surprising me in new ways every day. The amount of new sounds that you can generate, the amount of timbral variation in a single oscillator. Did you guys get a chance to hear it? Great. It's going to be shipping in March. Our initial sale price is $75 US, and it's going to release without all the full editing capabilities. There are over 700 parameters in a single oscillator by itself. And there's 3 oscillators and then the rest of the synthesizer. So we're working on a user interface to manage all those parameters. For now, you have waveform controls in the display. You can select different wave segments, and you can change the wave inside the segment. And you can also do pitch and volume changes and phase and DC changes per segment, and then store all of this when you're done, including all the different macro settings. So you'll have a lot of interesting things to do initially, and then we'll open it up completely to everybody once we get the rest of the parameters set up. When we release the second version with all the editing, it'll be $150 US. But anybody that buys the first version will get that update for free. And that's Waverazor. Thank you so much.